Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a lovely day today. So for today's video, I thought I would finally have a chat with you guys about like my labour and the first few months of having a newborn again and, you know, being a mum of two. I thought I would update you guys on that because you seem to be interested. So yeah, I'm going to do my makeup at the same time. And I guess let's just get into it. So my skincare is already done, so I'm going to go straight in with primers. Also, obviously my setup is a little bit different. I hope you guys don't mind it. I know it's not like ideal. I think I prefer this to my old setup anyway. But yeah, for now, this is what we're working with. After like Christmas and stuff, we're going to redecorate this room anyway. So that's when I'll have like my proper setup. But for now, this is what we're working with. I just quickly want to say all the makeup products that I use today will be linked in my description bar. I always do that anyway, so if ever you are interested in the makeup I use in the video, I always link it in my description. But today I'm not really going to go into detail about the makeup products that I am using, but like I said, if you're interested, it will be in my description. How do I start this? I'm not very good at this kind of stuff. So basically, with Aurora, my first child, I went into labour like literally, it was the day after her due date, and then I had her like the day after my labour started in the morning. So she was literally 2 days late, so I didn't kind of know what to expect with like a baby that was gonna be like really late. Like basically baby didn't want to come out, and I don't know whether I think I did say his name in my last video. I kind of wanted to save it for this video, but I'm pretty sure I've already like blurted his name out anyway. But we called him Oakley, so his name is Oakley. So yeah, Oakley was happy as Larry in my tummy. Didn't want to come out, didn't really want to make an appearance, wanted to make us wait. So yeah, he was really late. I think he was, I probably should have double checked this. I think he was 10 days late or 11 days late. So pretty much the max you can kind of go. I think you're allowed to go like 2 weeks over. So yeah, great. Love that for me. And yeah, he just didn't want to come out. So I was really, really nervous and didn't really want to be induced because I have a phobia of needles and like cannulas and stuff like that. I really didn't want one of those. And if you're induced, I know you have to have one. And I was really lucky with Aurora. I never had to have like any cannula or anything like that. So I was kind of hoping this would be the same. So I really didn't want to be induced. So I basically had this thing done. If anyone's had a baby before, you'll know what I'm on about anyway. And it's called a sweep. It's not very pleasant, but yeah, it can help induce labour, or it can help you at least start dilating. And it usually works better with people that have already had a baby. So I was kind of hoping it would work in my favour. The first one did not. It didn't. I think it did help me start to dilate like a little bit, but not like anything crazy. And then I went for another one because I really didn't want to be induced. But when I went for this one, they made me book an induction date. So yeah, I got a little bit nervous from then onwards. I've lost the lid. So my induction date was booked and that day came. And yeah, I got up that morning like normal because when Oakley was in my belly, like he used to... That was loud, sorry. Let me just pull this mirror close whilst I do my eyebrows. Yeah, when Oakley was in my belly, he used to wake me up all through the night to go to the toilet, like all through the night. And yeah, this was like a normal time for him to wake me up. So I went to the toilet and I was in like a bit of like uncomfortable pain. I really didn't think anything of it at all. Yeah, tried to go back to sleep, really couldn't get comfortable at all. Like I was in, like at this point, quite a bit of pain. So this is at like 4 o'clock in the morning. It like was around 4, 4:30. I can't remember exactly the time that I got up that morning, but I know it's around that time. So yeah, I was in a lot of pain. And then by about 5 o'clock, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure this is labour, because obviously I'd already been through it before. I kind of knew what to expect and kind of what to look out for. So I was like, I'm pretty sure this is labour. Either this is labour or I'm just really, really, really in like agony. So I didn't wake Kane up, because luckily Kane had booked this day off, because I was supposed to be induced on this day anyway. So regardless, baby was coming on this day or like the day afterwards. So Kane had that day booked off, but I kind of chose to just leave him in bed and just sleep, because I didn't want to wake him up for nothing kind of thing, and I was fine. So I was trying to I was really trying to just breathe through what I assumed were contractions, and yeah, I just really wanted to just focus on my breathing, don't panic too much, and just try and relax, because I also like to spend as much time as I can at home when my labour starts. I did that with both of them. It's just more comfortable at home, you know. I don't really want to go into hospital if I don't have to. So I made sure there was plenty of hot water for me to have like a nice warm bath and try and relax in the bath, because going in the bath can help with labour pains anyway. And I knew that anyway, because I did that with Aurora. So yeah, I did that, but then I was in like, it came thick and fast. Like with Aurora, it was like a gradual kind of thing. Eventually it got a bit stronger. Oakley was like loud and proud. He was coming. Like it was painful. Also, don't mind my eyebrows, I always clean them up. I just feel like I have to say that because I'm not neat with them at all. So yeah, Kane ended up waking up because obviously I was in pain, and I wasn't really being like too quiet about it. Like I was in pain and couldn't hide the fact that I was in pain. So he ended up waking up, and he was obviously like trying to help keep me calm. He ran me a bath. I went and got in the bath. The bath did not help. If anything, I think it genuinely made it worse. I was in so much pain because I just literally couldn't get into like a comfortable position where I could deal with the contraction coming, because I feel like these were so much stronger straight away. Like there was like no warning. It was just a strong contraction straight away. So I quickly got out of the bath, and I can't remember whether I rang my mum or if my mum turned up, because my mum was supposed to be having Aurora for me on that day. So me and Kane could obviously go to hospital. Like this was already kind of planned because I was supposed to be induced on that day anyway. So I think my mum just kind of turned up. I believe so. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I don't think I rang her. Or maybe I did. I'm not sure. But regardless, my mum ended up turning up. So yeah, at some point my mum turned up. I feel like my mum came around like, I want to say like 7 or like 8 o'clock. To be honest, the whole morning for me is kind of a blur. Like I wasn't really checking my phone. I was just kind of timing my contractions and stuff. I really wasn't doing a whole lot of anything else. Apart from focusing on breathing, trying not to panic, and yeah, just keeping an eye on the time between each contraction. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure on like the times of things, but yeah, basically my mum came at some point and eventually I kind of started to panic like a little bit at some point. I can't quite pinpoint when it was, but not long afterwards I did phone my dad and asked him to take me to the hospital. I can't remember what time I went to the hospital, but I have a feeling it was about, I want to say, and this is kind of a big time bracket, but it was between like 9:30 and like 11:30, 12, like somewhere around there was when I went to the hospital, because I just wanted to stay at home for as long as I could. But at one point I started to kind of panic, and I knew it was going to take me a little while to get to the hospital, and I really didn't want to end up giving birth in the car, because I knew these contractions were coming like thick and fast compared to Aurora's like labour, which was all I kind of had to go off of. So yeah, we get to the hospital. So I've obviously been like, it's not like active labour, but I've been in labour since 4 o'clock in the morning. So by this point, I'm already tired. Like, it's a long day. So yeah, we get to the hospital, and I was really lucky. I was allowed to go in. It's called like a sanctuary suite, and it's kind of like a spa for labouring women. as much of a spa like experience as you can imagine for like labour. So it's like got like dimmed lights, it's got like a nice birthing pool, it's kind of like more relaxing. It doesn't really feel like you're in a hospital room so much. Like, you kind of know you're in a hospital room, but it's not like your average hospital room. Like, it's quite nice. So we obviously go there, and I meet my midwives, and I had like obviously your normal midwife. I feel like the angle's changed. Yeah, like I had like my fully qualified midwife, and then there was also a student midwife in my room, which honestly, bless her, she was so good. Like, she's definitely in the right role. Like, if anything, she was like giving me like the moral support that I needed all the way through. So yeah, love her. And my other midwife was also good. Like, I'm not gonna say that she's not, but yeah, the student midwife, bless her, was so good. I can hear Oakley crying downstairs. He's due a bottle, so I'm guessing that's what he's crying for. But yeah, I had 2 midwives in the room, the student and my actual midwife. And I'm not gonna lie, having a student in the room was kind of nice, because like she's learning, you can hear like what they're talking about, so you kind of know what's going on more. It was actually quite nice. So yeah, my midwives this time around were amazing, because my midwives with Aurora, well, my midwife rather with Aurora, she was not good. I can't even lie. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. She was really, really bad. And I feel like that's why I had like Aurora's birth for me at the end was quite traumatic for me. But yeah, I feel like my midwife didn't help that situation at all with Aurora. But this time around, my midwife was so good. Yeah, so I get there, and at this point, I'm in so much pain. So I'm trying to use the gas and air, but, and I knew this with Aurora anyway, gas and air just doesn't agree with me. Like, I just don't like it. It just gives me a headache, hurts my throat, and doesn't really do a whole lot. Really doesn't do a whole lot for me. So I tried it a good few times, and yeah, it wasn't working for me. So I knew I needed a bit of help. So I asked if I could have some diamorphine, because I had that with Aurora like right at the end. I actually had it a bit too late with Aurora. Like, I needed to have it a bit sooner for it to actually take effect. But yeah, that is what it is. So I knew like with Oakley's labour not to leave it as long. So she obviously told me like the kind of risks, because obviously when I got there, she checked how dilated I was and stuff like that, like in between my contractions. And when I got to hospital, I was already 7 centimeters dilated, so obviously that's quite far in. So they wasn't sure how long I was actually going to be there. So she obviously just wanted to warn me that like I could, if I have it too late, it can like just make baby's heart rate a bit slower and stuff when they're born and stuff like that. So it was just, she had to warn me of certain stuff. And that's why I tried to stay on the gas and air for a bit at first, because obviously I didn't want to cause any complications with Oakley when he was born if he was going to come like super, super quick. But I was using the gas and air. I was really in a lot of pain, and gas and air wasn't helping, so I knew I needed help. So I had a bit of diamorphine, and honestly that took the edge off so much. Like, it just made me regain control. I feel like I was in that moment panicking a bit, like I just got to hospital. It felt very real and I was scared. So I feel like I started to panic, kind of lost control a little bit of like focusing on my breathing. And I know I keep saying that, but it is genuinely so important to just concentrate on breathing. It sounds so stupid, but it really helps. Yeah, so I know I keep mentioning it, but that is genuinely pretty much all you can do. So I just kind of lost control a little bit. So I had this diamorphine, which, by the way, it killed when she did that this time. It was not nice. But yeah, she also put a little bit of like anti-sickness in it, because I kept going really hot and bothered and feeling really sick. So she, yeah, gave me like a little bit of anti-sickness too, which was nice. And then I kind of regained control. So now everything's like a little bit more calm again. And yeah, obviously I just keep labouring. So I had that like pretty much as soon as I got to the hospital, like probably like an hour or two after I got to the hospital, I had the diamorphine. And that's all I had. Like at that point, that was all I had. I never had any other kind of pain relief after that. I just kept having like a warm compress put on my back, because my back was in agony. Like I was in so much pain. And there is a reason for that, which I will get to. At one point, like I can't tell you the time now, because genuinely I've got no idea. I was in like a hell of a lot of pain. Like it was a lot. And she decided to check like how far dilated I was. And I kind of tried to put this off because I knew like my contractions were so quick that it was going to be really uncomfortable. So she obviously checked, and I got a contraction like midway through, and yeah, he was coming. So I was like, no, you need to move, you've got to get away, like, yeah. So from that point onwards, I was like, I need to start pushing. But she really wanted to kind of finish checking baby, because I think she knew he was in like a not in the right position. So I kind of carried on for a while, and I was pushing for a while. And then eventually they had to get the senior midwife in, because I'd been pushing for over an hour, I think she said, and nothing was really happening. And that's because I had, I mentioned this a lot in my like vlogs and stuff, when I was pregnant, but I had this thing called pelvic girdle pain. Like it's really common in pregnancy. I didn't realise how common it really was. And it's more common for people that have already had babies before. So, I had it really quite bad. Like I had to have physio and stuff when I was pregnant for it. And yeah, so basically when I was labouring, it sounds so stupid, but I genuinely couldn't open my legs enough to like help myself with like the labour. So yeah, the senior midwife came in, and genuinely, bless her heart, like she was like a no nonsense kind of a woman. Like my midwives were good. They weren't like sugarcoating stuff or anything. They were really like trying to help me as much as they like could, while still being firm. But this senior midwife came in, and she was like no nonsense, still really attentive. I don't want to make her out to be like some cold-hearted demon, but no, she was genuinely really good. But she was just like no nonsense, like, look, this baby wants that now, like, get a grip, woman, come on, he's gotta come out, so come on. So every single time I had a contraction, she would basically pull like my legs apart, which like, oh, the pain of that with my pelvic girdle pain, I wanted to cry. I was like, no, it hurts. But it worked. And then basically, this is a little bit TMI, I guess, but I guess this is what you guys are here for. Once like Oakley kind of made a bit of an appearance, I guess you could say. She basically said like he's back to back, so he wasn't coming out the right way. So baby's come out facing down and he was kind of facing up. So basically as I was pushing, I needed to kind of work that bit harder to kind of spin him round. And I didn't even know this was possible, by the way. I didn't think your body could even do that. Like, where is he moving? Like, where is the room for him to do that? But yeah, these midwives, I cannot give them enough praise because they were so good. So like when I was obviously pushing, they're obviously like giving you all the encouragement you need. Like, come on, you're doing it, blah, 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 all this. And then the senior midwife got really excited and she was like, he's turning, you're doing it, he's turning, which obviously is like great because you know like you're doing it, you know you're doing all you can. So it's just nice to know that what I was doing was working. So yeah, so then I remember like her saying like his head was right there. So TMI, I know. But and then she asked me if I wanted to touch his head. I was like, hell no, I don't want to touch that. No, that's not a bit of me. I cannot lie. I feel like I've barely looked at the camera this whole time. So she asked me that, I said no. And she like laughed at me. And then obviously he just kept coming and coming. And then eventually he was out, which was great. And I eventually had him. Bear in mind, I had been in labour, like I started having contractions at 4 o'clock in the morning. He came at 4:19 in the afternoon. So like 12 hours, and all I had was that diamorphine when I first got there, and then I never had any more after that. That was all I had, and the gas and air weren't working for me, so yeah, that was it. And then yeah, the senior midwife like basically gave me a little pat on the back, kind of, a bit more than that, you know what I mean, like well done, blah blah blah. And obviously there was I needed to basically be stitched up without being too graphic. So then I had like a surgeon come in. I just went ahead and did my concealer and set my face because I realised this video is going to be quite long by the looks of it. So yeah. Where did I get to? Oakley was here and they were obviously like doing their little checks on him and stuff. In the meantime, I had the surgeon with me. And I actually didn't know this. They have to like take, if you're a little bit squeamish, I'd probably like skip forward a few minutes. Like if you're not keen on anything to do with like blood or anything like that, just skip forward like a couple minutes. There's your warning. So I didn't realise they had to like weigh like the like cloths or pads or anything that they use to like clear up your blood, and they have to do that because you're only allowed to lose so much blood before obviously it's like classed as you need some help, like something's not quite right. And I basically, because I obviously had like a bit of tearing, they wasn't sure whether the blood loss that I had was from the labour or my stitches. So basically what they were trying to do was finish my stitches as quick as possible to hopefully stop any bleeding there, which they did. But then afterwards they had like, I guess he's like the head surgeon, I'm not sure, but basically another guy came in and he basically said that I need this thing because I'd lost more blood than I was supposed to, but I was like just on like the verge of it, and they're pretty sure that most of my loss was from the tears, like it wasn't from like labour. So I was like literally just on the verge of like losing too much. Like I'd lost like, I don't know how much, but I'd lost like a bit more than what I was supposed to. So basically they said that I need this thing, and then I overheard my midwife say she doesn't have a cannula in. Now the second I heard this, I looked up at Kane, who was holding Oakley, and he could see I was literally petrified. And I'm not the kind of person who ever like intervenes with like medical stuff. I feel like you need to do what you need to do, like, do you know what I mean? So I don't intervene. However, this time I was so scared, so I literally looked at the surgeon and I said, sorry, did you say cannula? And like, he can see in my face like I'm petrified. And he was like, yeah, why, is that okay? And I was like, do I really need one? I said, because they're genuinely, and this is true, like I wasn't being over dramatic. I said, they're literally like my worst nightmare, like it's my biggest phobia. I really don't want to have one if I like really don't need it. Like if it's like just a precaution thing, can you just kind of see how I go? So he basically went and spoke to my actual surgeon again, and he said that he reckoned most of my blood loss was just from my stitches. So the head surgeon came to me again and he was like, we've spoken and we'll just do some blood tests in like a couple of hours to make sure that everything's okay, which also, blood tests for me, also a phobia, but less of a phobia than the cannula. So I would take that every day of the week. So bless him, he was like, it's fine, blah, 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 like patted me, like making sure I was okay. He was like, it's fine. And I was like, that genuinely, I wish you could have seen my face, because I was like, thank you so much. Thank you. I really didn't want one. I really did not want one. And he knew that, and I'm glad that he listened to me rather than like just going ahead and doing it, because I know some people have some horrible stories from like their labour and stuff where people just don't listen, and luckily I didn't have that problem. So yeah, I ended up not having to have the cannula. And then the midwives kept saying to me like Oakley was big, and they were like curious to see how much you weighed. And so was I, because it's like one of the best things, I'm not gonna lie, like when you hear like how much they weigh and stuff. So obviously they weigh in kilograms, but then they tell you in pounds and ounces. So I can't remember the kilograms like off the top of my head now. It's all in his birthing book. I probably should have had a quick look at that before filming this video, but yeah, anyway. She was like, I think it's like around like £8 something, and I'll go check. I'm just gonna double check my numbers, which is kind of like, that's what I was kind of thinking, it would be like £8, like a bit over £8, because Aurora was like literally an ounce or two under £8. So I was kind of expecting the same. I kind of had a feeling he'd be a bit bigger, because it's usually the case. So yeah, she came back in and she was like, yeah, he's definitely not £8. So I was like, how much does he weigh? And boy, do I know how to cook a baby. He was £9.7. I don't even know where he was, because if you've seen my bump, like my bump was really not big. Like £9.7, where was he? Like genuinely, where was he? So yeah, it was very funny, because none of his baby grows fit him. Like I brought 2 different size baby grows. I brought like the newborn ones, which is like the small ones, and then I brought some that were like up to a month old. Even they literally just fit him, like literally just, because some midwives came in like a little bit later on to say that they were taking over shift. But I was going to be moving on to the ward soon anyway. So, like, they came in, wanted to see how I was doing, and obviously wanted to see baby. And, yeah, they looked at him and was like, oh, my God, he's massive. How much did he weigh? And I told them. And they were like, oh, my God. And I was like, I know. And they were like, do you want us to put the, like, baby grow on him? Because me and Kane was just kind of chilling at this point. And we were like, yeah, that's fine. So they gets like the bigger baby grow, and his poor little toes in the bottom of the thing were like proper like I felt so bad, but I brought stuff bigger just in case. And actually, to be fair, I was kind of frustrated, because when I checked my notes throughout my pregnancy, they knew he was going to be big anyway, but just didn't tell me. They didn't tell me, and they let me go fully like over. Like, why did no one tell me? If I knew he was going to be that big, I would have like just got induced earlier, because obviously that made my like labour like a lot more difficult, because not only was he big, he was also back to back, which, so like I don't even know how I did it, but I did. And yeah, bless him, he was all good. And now, like a little bit of insight to him now, he will be 3 months old tomorrow whilst I'm filming this. And he's in 6 to 9 month clothes and has been since he was about a month and a half old. So yeah, he's a big boy. But he's so good, bless him. So they obviously did all his checks in hospital like they usually do, and everything was fine with him. They did my checks and everything was fine with me, and then I was allowed to go home literally like the next day. Like if they'd have done my blood test a bit earlier, we could have literally gone home that morning, but my blood test didn't get done till like later on, and then obviously you have to wait for your results to come back before you can go. So yeah, we could have gone like way earlier, but we just literally had to wait for the test results to come back. So yeah, then we came home, and to be fair, Oakley at first, he really wasn't a good sleeper. Now, to be fair, at first I was breastfeeding anyway. Like I breastfed him the first week, just over a week, just over a week. I breastfed him because I did it with Aurora, loved it, wanted to do it again. So yeah, I breastfed him, and then they checked his weight a few days after I'd give birth. Like someone comes out to see you, see how you're doing, and he'd lost like a little bit of weight, but it's kind of normal when he lost like 3% of his weight, I think, which is normal. When you breastfeed, it's normal. Like they just don't want them to have lost any more than 10%. So he was absolutely fine. And then one day it was like super warm, like really uncomfortably warm, and breastfed babies are not allowed water. So he basically just wanted to be fed constantly, to the point where he started like, it wasn't a lot, but he was like throwing his milk back up. So obviously he was kind of like drinking too much. And also then he was getting really frustrated. Like if he couldn't like latch on, he'd get really frustrated. Or also, this is also a little bit too TMI, I know, but my milk flow was quite strong. So it would like, he couldn't like drink it quick enough basically. And they did give me some pointers on like how to make that easier for him. But I basically, one night, me and Kane was in bed, he was getting really frustrated, Oakley was. And I just thought like, this isn't fair. Like this is quite selfish on my behalf. Like at least if he's bottle fed, Kane can also feed him, and so can Aurora. And I told Kane to go and get a bottle, and I'm not going to lie, the second I did it, I wanted to cry, because I was like, no, like it's over already. But then the next morning, Aurora fed him, and it was literally the cutest thing I've ever seen. So I was kind of, it wasn't as bad, but yeah, I was kind of gutted I had to stop like so soon. Well, I didn't have to stop, but I just felt like it was better for him. And I haven't had him weighed in a while, so I'm not sure how much he weighs now, but he was like, I want to say like 11 pounds something last time I had him weighed. I don't know what he is now, because it has been a good while. So yeah, I'm not sure, but if I find out, I'll leave like a little note somewhere on this video, but I don't think I'll find out before this video goes out. But yeah, he's absolutely fine, bless him. At first, he wasn't sleeping too great through the night, but to be fair, breastfed babies have to be fed like every 3 hours when they're newborn anyway. No more than 4 hours you're supposed to leave them, so like every 3 hours is what they want you to be doing. And they also want you to like offer it to them as much as they want it, if that makes sense. So yeah, but then he went on to bottles, and to be fair, he still wasn't sleeping the best through the night. Like he would literally wake up every 3 hours for a bottle, which is fine. Like it's having a baby at the end of the day. Didn't really expect anything different. But to be fair, Aurora wasn't like that. Like she was like really good. Like it took her a while to get to sleep, but then once she was asleep, she just slept, and she's been like that her whole life. So Aurora is literally, she could sleep all day. She could sleep all day, to the point where I used to get a bit worried, like, do I need to wake her up for a bottle? Like, surely this is too long. But no, she was fine. So yeah, she just slept well, basically. Oakley just literally woke up every 3 hours, so it got really tiring. At first, when Kane was off on paternity leave, it wasn't quite as bad because there was that help. When he went back to work and I was obviously doing the school run and getting up through the night with Oakley and then having to, you know, wake up in the morning for Aurora and stuff, it was a lot. Now he is so much better. Like, he sleeps so well, bless him. He usually has like a bottle at about 7 o'clock. Between like 7 and 9 o'clock, somewhere around there, he'll have a bottle. Then he won't wake up till about 6, 7 o'clock the next morning, which is great. Genuinely fine. So now he is great, bless him. It just took him about like, I would say like a month and a half to get to that point. So for a month and a half, I was like dead. So yeah, bless him. So yeah, now he like sleeps really well. He's also quite forward on his milestones and stuff. Like, he was always really aware, like looking around at stuff and like could recognize faces and stuff really easily. Like me, Kane and Aurora, he recognized all the time. Aurora literally is his little best friend already. It is so cute, like so unbelievably cute how he just knows it's her and is like so fascinated with her. I love it. Yeah, so he was always dead aware and like could like follow you around the room from like really early on. He also started smiling really quickly too. Like, they say that they can't smile until, I think it's, I want to say 6 weeks, like, because they don't even know how to use the muscles on their face themselves, if that makes sense. Like, they'll do like little smiley faces, but they don't know they're doing it. I'm genuinely like, Oakley knew what he was doing. Like, he was smiling and I could see it plain as day. Like, it wasn't wind. He was doing it for way too long and he was only doing it when certain stuff was happening. Like, we were talking to him and stuff. He was smiling, and you can try and argue with me about it. I don't care. He was smiling. You can't tell me otherwise. So yeah, he's just quite forward, it seems like, and he's already been trying to roll over since he was about, how old would he have been when he first started rolling? I think I want to say it was just before he was 2 months old. And I'm not talking about rolling from his back to his stomach. I'm talking about he's trying to roll, no wait, not from his stomach to his back. He's trying to roll from his back to his stomach, which they're not supposed to do until they're about 6 months old. And yeah, he hasn't quite done it yet, bless him. But he, for sure, is trying his hardest. And yeah, he's just so stinking cute. Such a little cutie. And Aurora has genuinely adapted so well to being a big sister and not being an only child anymore. She has her moments occasionally, but genuinely she's been so good. Like, it's just not what I expected. And she's really helpful with me. She likes to help me like get him dressed in the morning, get his like nappies, help me wash him in the bath, all that kind of stuff. She loves to help. She's just been so good. And Aurora will be going into like full-time school in September. So I'm not even ready for that. But yeah, I imagine like being a mum of two will be a little bit easier when she's like at school full-time rather than just for a couple of hours, because it just gives me a bit more time and like it can keep Oakley in a bit more of a routine. I also feel like the time he wakes up now is kind of brilliant because I can feed him his bottle and then get Aurora ready for school, and then he can literally have a nap whilst we walk to school. It's like all kind of perfect timing. So yeah, I think everything's just kind of falling into line now, which is really nice, to be fair. Yeah, it's just been really good. And I'm so glad we became a family of 4 because I think we are complete now, to be fair. And it feels like he's always been here, which is so weird. Like, it happened with Aurora too. You just feel like they've always been there, even though they obviously haven't. But It just feels like they always have been. Yeah, I don't feel like there's anything else I have to update you guys on. I don't think there's any questions that I've like seen that I feel like I've like missed. I don't think. I feel like mentally, I feel like I still have good and bad days, but that's normal. I know that's normal. Some days are obviously worse than others. Like, it's not always like happy-go-lucky all the time, but most of the time everything's fine. I had time to go out for brunch for the first time the other day with some of my friends that I used to work with, and that was nice to just like let my hair down. So yeah, everything just kind of feels like it's kind of going back to like a normal kind of routine with an extra person. So just to kind of save a little bit of time and so this video is not super long, I'm just gonna finish off my eyes and, you know, put on a lip, and then I shall be right back. Okay, so this is the finished look. A little bit grungy for me. I haven't done like a grungy kind of look in a while. I kind of like it, I'm not even gonna lie. But yeah, this is the finished look. I don't think I have anything else to update you guys on with regards to like my birthing story and stuff and how Oakley's doing. He's doing great. He's, yeah, developing well and he's great, bless him. Such a cutie, and Aurora's doing really well as well. She's a great big sister, so I don't think I've missed anything out. If you do have any questions, don't be scared to like leave them in the comments. I really don't mind. I'll answer any of your questions. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for sticking around and watching till the end. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I have a feeling it might be, but hopefully it's not too long. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss when I post new videos every Monday and Saturday. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.